Alvaro Asensio, that's a cool last name. Alvaro Asensio, Jesus, that's a good name. It'll be very interesting if you make a video on how to combine martial arts training and calisthenics and be decent in both disciplines. Alvaro, good question. Very interesting to make a video on how to combine martial arts and calisthenics and be decent in both disciplines. Okay. Okay, I'll explain this the way I did it. Like it's sure there's many different options that are available, but this is how I did it. Well, first of all, I still fucking love strength training, and I'm fortunate enough that I was deeply into strength training and know that strength training is done best when you're fresh. So I don't do my martial arts training first and then go into strength training, which is how majority of boxers and martial artists are doing it. And I'm not saying that's the wrong way to do it, because obviously the priority is martial arts, so it's okay to do that session first. But in my opinion, when I wake up, like I just like to do some strength work, and I do a little bit less volume than I used to. So I used to wake up and start training for strength and train fucking 4 hours, 5 hours for strength. So these days I usually do an hour, maybe 2 hours tops if I'm working on. Today, for example, I did my legs and I did pulling in the same session, so that's a 2-hour session, but still it's not that much volume and intensity. I don't feel like I'm central nervous system fatigued afterwards. I don't feel like after a 2-hour session, oh, I gotta go to bed and fall asleep. I actually feel nicely warmed up. I feel like my muscles are activated. I feel woken up and energized, and I feel like I'm fucking ready to do a second session right away. And sometimes that's what I do. I do first my strength training session. Let's say on Monday I do my pressing, and afterwards, like, I'm feeling fucking good. I don't do that much hypertrophy. I don't like go that intensely, so afterwards I can barely pick up my arm. I do a decent strength training session, and afterwards, like, I'm still feeling like I'm good to go. So basically, I do my strength training work pretty much every morning. So I still follow a simple push-pull legs with some modifications, because sometimes I gotta spar on the different days and BJJ here and there. So there are some adjustments, but I usually wake up and I do my strength training, like push-pull legs, push-pull legs. Works like a charm. It's beautiful. I love it, and I do a little bit less, so I'm able to recover from that session with ease. You know, so if I just do push-pull legs, do 0 other training sessions in a day, I just feel beautifully recovered and energized and fresh all the freaking time. So that's what you have to find out, is what's that base of training that you can do, that you can recover from without any major problems. So if you're gonna do calisthenics on Monday for 4 hours or 3 hours of pull-ups, like obviously on Tuesday you can't do shit. Like even something as a BJJ session is gonna be pretty difficult, because rotator cuff is tight, your lat is tight, and you're going like just fairly tight and exhausted into a session that's very difficult, both central nervous system wise. You're going into weird mobility wise, it's difficult. Like it's just, there's so much stress on the shoulder joint, especially on the knees as well, and the fucking ankles. So it's just, you have to find a way to do calisthenics so that you do calisthenics in a week and you're like, man, I'm feeling fresh, I'm feeling good. Like and sometimes you gotta do a little bit less volume that you think you're able to. So if a person's sole purpose in life is in calisthenics, I will do calisthenics all fucking day. Like I finished with 2-hour session, let's do more handstands. My handstands suck, so let's do 3 hours of handstands. Or maybe the grip could use some work, or I need a better falls grip for ring muscle up, so you're gonna do 5 accessory sets for just developing the falls grip or something like that. So that's the first thing you got to do, is you got to lower the calisthenics, the strength training session, down to the bare minimum of what you need to do to still make progress and to enjoy the session, but being able to fully recover from the session. Meaning on Tuesday you're a little bit sore, that's it, you're feeling good. On Tuesday you do your pulling session, it's amazing, your strength is going up continuously from week to week. So you got to find a base for calisthenics which you can do and you can recover from. That's the first step. And then the second step is how to introduce the next discipline. And here it can be fucking dancing, climbing, mixed martial arts, boxing, fucking hit me, whatever it is, all is good stuff. But first, you need to have a base of what you're currently doing. So let's say this specific direction, Alvaro, this is calisthenics. So have a base for calisthenics, and then add a little bit of martial arts in, and see how your body responds. So the first time you do that, I will do it twice per week tops. A lot of people are like, okay, I'm training calisthenics 6 times a week. Now it's time to train taking BJJ. Let's go at it 6 times a week, right? Injury guaranteed. So first you go into a 1 session and you're like, okay, right now I did 6 sessions for calisthenics this week, and I added 1 session of BJJ on Wednesday. So after leg session, I went for BJJ, I did my session. I was a little bit sore the next day, maybe the neck was a little bit sore, maybe rotator cuff, but I was still able to do my calisthenics session on Thursday, and it went great. So then you're like, okay, 1 session of BJJ a week, plus all my calisthenics shit, works. Now let's try another BJJ session. So you do one on Wednesday, one on Saturday, for example. You're like, okay, that was an intense week. Like, I did 6 sessions calisthenics, 2 sessions BJJ. At the end of the week, also write that so you know exactly how much stress overall you're putting on your body. So whenever I write down my training sessions, it's like I have 1 line is just for strength training sessions, another line is for MMA sessions, and you gotta be sure not to overdo something. So that's why you write it down. And then you're like, okay, I did BJJ twice a week. I love it, man. I feel like calisthenics is great, but man, this BJJ shit is fucking awesome. Like, I want to do it 3 times a week. So you're like, okay, let's do it another week, twice a week, just to see how the body responds, and let's do it another week, twice per week, just to see how the body responds. So you go, okay, I got used to this volume. My body is used to doing 2 BJJ sessions a week and 6 calisthenics sessions a week. That's my norm, and I feel great doing so. Then you're like, oh shit, awesome. Now I can step it up and add 1 more session of BJJ. So you're like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're doing BJJ, and you're doing 6 times a week calisthenics as well. And that's how you combine the 2 elements. And after a while, you might be like, man, this BJJ shit is fucking awesome. Let's do even more of it. Let's add 1 more session of BJJ. But then you'll probably notice that, man, this BJJ is intense. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, my sessions for calisthenics are great. They're intense. I love it. I can recover, all this good stuff. But after I do my Monday BJJ session and Wednesday BJJ session, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you do strength training. On Thursday, I'm a little bit fucking sore, you know. So you might notice that. You might be like, oh shit, okay. Maybe if I want to continue doing BJJ 4 or 5 times a week, let's lower down the intensity of the other 3 calisthenics sessions. So in that case, you can have, okay, the first part of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm doing calisthenics very intensely, and I'm doing my BJJ also with usual intensity. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm doing my calisthenics a little bit lighter, so I can still do my BJJ intensely and progress in that, but at the end of the week still feel good. And then Monday I'm fully recovered, I can start with a new week. Whew. And that's how it's done, you know. And then if you want to add some new things up, you gotta like make sure how to dose it. So if you want to bring another stuff into the equation, you always do it gently. You try it with once a week, you see how it all works, and you have to make sure this also. Just because it works for a week doesn't mean it's gonna work for 6 fucking weeks. You know, so if you're doing BJJ, like you just introduced BJJ 3 times a week and calisthenics 6 times a week. You do that first week, second week, third week, and third week or fourth week, you're like, man, I'm fucking tired, like I'm sore, my wrist hurts, my left rotator cuff hurts, my right hip hurts, my left knee hurts a little bit. And then you're like, oh, okay, is this from BJJ or is this from calisthenics? Oh, okay, possibly BJJ. And then you're like, okay, let's take an active rest week or a deload week from BJJ. And let's this week do my calisthenics, maybe lower down the intensity on calisthenics as well to hit a proper deload week. And then have maybe just 1 BJJ session on that week to have the body recover. And then after that, you again start, okay, I had 1 session, now again, let's bring in 2, 3, and you play with the variables like this. But yeah, this is how it goes. It's quite tricky. I have to tell you guys. It's you have to be objective. You have to look at the training session at the end of the week. You have to know like how much stress you're putting on either the shoulders or the hips or the knee or because sometimes the fatigue can be very specific or it can be just all over the place. So it depends. And you do the active rest week appropriately as well. So if you feel like your whole body is freaking tired, the central nervous is tired, the grip is tired, you just want to go to bed and sleep all day, in that case, take a proper deload week, you know, and take some rest from BJJ and from calisthenics as well, and from martial arts as well. If you feel like maybe just left rotator cuff is tight, you're like, okay, let's lower down the intensity of calisthenics just a little bit, and let's for 2-3 days stay out of BJJ just so the left rotator cuff can recover. And that way it's also a way to respond on just some regular fatigue that is going to happen. But if you notice it, you can stop an injury and adjust and continue training beautifully. So yeah, that's about it. It's quite complex, but the main thing is have one discipline as a base, and I think having calisthenics, where I call it strength training. I don't even like calisthenics term these days, because like I do strength training. Like I use anything that works. If it's calisthenics, powerlifting, weightlifting, doesn't matter for me. Climbing, whatever the fuck it is. So I do my strength training 6 times a week. I deeply enjoy it. I usually sometimes I even do it a little bit less so I can recover better. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I do push-pull legs. And then instead of having 3 sessions, which sometimes feels like a lot of work, I actually maybe take Thursday off. And then I do a full body session on Friday, for example. And that way, on Thursday, I'm really able to recover from all the fucking MMA sessions on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and all the strength work. So Thursday, I get to recover a little bit better. And then Friday I had a full body lighter session, so I can do afterwards my MMA session, my sparring on Friday as well, and some wrestling on Saturday as well. So this is also a way to adjust. If 6 training sessions for strength are a bit too much, you can always adjust, maybe do push-pull legs, and then do push and pull on the same session, do supersets and combine stuff like that. So that also works. So there's many different options, but the main thing is at the end of the week, see how you feel and see if you need to adjust something, and occasionally take an active rest week or a deload week. And if you're feeling exceptionally fresh and beautiful, you can even add stuff in, but make sure to be intuitive and be aware of how your body feels, because maybe something is working for a week, 2 weeks, even 3 weeks, but after 4 or 5 weeks it's a bit too much. So in that case, see what feels fatigue and take a deload week, or just the training, so you don't get injured and you continue making progress. Although this was quite a complex question, I had to think a little bit about it, so hopefully it's not a too long of a video, and hopefully this was helpful to you. And yeah, best of luck with combining calisthenics and martial arts. I think they're both amazing disciplines, and yeah, have fun. Wow.